Welcome, welcome, Charlie Sykes.
Hey, congratulations, Molly. I'm guessing that you, like most of your viewers, have had a better week than JD Vance. So congratulations on that.
Hard to think. Though I will say, when we talk about bad weeks, House Democrats just introduced
Yeah.
6 articles. I have my hand says
Mm.
5, but my mouth says 6.
Mhm.
6 articles of impeachment against, and it's hard to think of who because there's so many
Yeah.
choices, but Whiskey Pete.
Oh, he's perfect. Yeah, if you had to start somewhere, I suppose why not? Yeah, whiskey Pete. I'm wondering, at what point does Donald Trump realize that Pete would be a great scapegoat to throw under the bus for this Iran war? So, probably the filing of the articles of impeachment is in Trump world kind of a job lock for Pete
Yeah.
Hegseth, right? He's
Yeah.
not going to
I
fire him while he's facing impeachment.
No, in fact, it's really funny you said that because I was actually thinking about like what would really solidify Donald Trump's
Hmm.
support for a
Hmm.
cabinet member, and it would be something like this, especially if the Democrats supporting it. And again, as you and I both know, there are a lot of Democrats who will impeach a ham sandwich. Not a lot, but there are some, like Al Green of Texas has supported impeachments
Right.
when all the other Democrats were like, "Don't,
Ever.
no, 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 don't do that." This is a group that's serious in one way because like in this group are Sarah McBride, who's been really careful
Hmm.
about not,
Yeah.
about being very careful about the way she speaks about any number of things. And then also Crockett, Steve Cohen from Tennessee. So these are people who are, relatively speaking, pretty serious. I mean, I think very well of Steve Cohen. I think he's smart. And they're doing this. There are a number of articles in here, but the one that I think is probably the one that they could go after every member in this cabinet: obstruction of congressional oversight.
Hmm. Yeah, that would cast a pretty broad shadow. Look, these are serious people, but let's be honest about it. This sort of thing is
Right.
performative. We'll put this in the file of failure to launch because, come on, in
Mhm.
this Congress, they're not going to impeach him. Now, is it a good messaging thing? Is it important to show that you're willing to fight? Probably. Although, just like all the buzz about the 25th Amendment. You need to have like a
Right.
box saying you can talk about it as long as you fully understand this is not really going to happen in the real
Mm.
world.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean, look, we're in a campaign year, so messaging is important. And Pete Hegseth is absolutely deplorable. I thought you were going to say that is one of the articles about the double tap on the boat where he basically committed a war
The
crime or ordered a
Yeah.
war crime,
Yeah.
which seems like
Yes,
impeachable.
that's Article 1
Okay,
is
good, good.
unauthorized war against Iran and reckless endangerment of United States service members.
Well,
2 is violation of the law of armed conflict. That's the double tap, I
yeah,
assume. And the
okay, yeah.
yeah, and the girls' school, the double tap at the girls' school.
Oh,
3 is reckless handling of sensitive military
this will be
information.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. 5 is abuse of power. 6 is disreputable conduct. I mean, you know, right. It won't
The,
happen,
the,
but it's worth trying.
Well, this will distract Pete Hegseth, from, his quality gym time. You thought I was gonna say from his management of the war. I don't based on his conduct, I don't think he has much to do with it. I think it's like, can we get Pete out of the office while we do various things? But,
Mhm.
yeah, I think that, this is going to be maybe this will be like a dry run for what you're going to see next year. But
Right.
again, Pete Hegseth, before this, I would have said that he was the member of the cabinet most likely to be dumped, but not
Right.
now.
I mean, exactly. And I think that's a good point. And there are so many unforced errors when it comes to this war. And when it comes to, it's funny because I'm thinking about like the S&P has recovered almost all
Yeah,
of the
right.
losses, but gas is still wildly expensive.
Well, it is interesting how often the markets will bite on whatever Trump throws out. And if you kind of knew the stock market was going to have a good day today because he gave the interview. Trump is saying that the war is
Right.
almost over, which could be off next week. That's part of the
Right.
problem. How long are you going to go back and forth? One of the things that I do have a hard time understanding is this whole logic of the double blockade of the Hormuz Strait, which seems to be guaranteed to make the global economic problems actually worse. And the calculation seems to be that Iran will have a lower capacity for pain than we do, which is like, wait, you know, Donald Trump can't take 2 bad days in the market. 6 weeks of high gas prices is going to kill him. The mullahs can sit back and, well, I mean, they've
I
basically
mean,
proven.
20 years.
Well, exactly. So, who has a higher capacity for pain? And what
Yeah.
genius sitting around the table said, "Yeah, the Iranians are going to cave in more, faster than the U.S. political system." I don't know.
Yeah. That is really, I think, a good point. And when cornered, when showing that Donald Trump is really out of control, he goes for the very normal act of attacking.
The Pope.
Yeah.
Well, and post another Jesus meme today. The one where Jesus is like, cradling him in his arms and thinking, thank God that you're exposing all these pedophiles or whatever, bizarre thing.
Right.
But the fight against the Pope is so strange because, well, no, I mean, on one level, it makes sense because Donald Trump attacks anybody who criticizes him, right? He
Yeah.
doesn't make that category. But and I did my newsletter on this on Wednesday. On the one hand, the amazing thing is this administration has been
Mm.
so aggressive in saying, religion and the church should have a bigger role in public policy, right? JD Vance is one of the guys who are saying, yes, we ought to base a lot of our public policy on Catholic doctrine. I am so
Right.
Catholic. I am so Catholic. I've written a book about how Catholic I am, and my conversion. And now they're basically telling the Pope, shut up and dribble, shut up and sing, go
Mhm.
away, stay in your lane.
Right.
Um,
That was
or
amazing.
Oh, there were 2 amazing was stay in your lane, and you should just stick to morality as if there's no moral dimension to war. And then at that TPUSA, cluster, what, last night, he's lecturing the Pope that you ought to be careful when you talk about theology. JD Vance, you wanna talk about, being out of your lane. JD Vance sitting up there and lecturing the Pope about theology. So, I mean, it's the wrong guy to fight, wrong time. The church has an infrastructure, it's got a history. And if
Yeah.
you notice something, Molly, I mean, I think this is underappreciated. It's not just the Pope that Donald Trump is at war with. The American Catholic Church has been divided in the past and
Mhm.
willing to distance itself from the Vatican. Have you noticed how they're coalescing around this Pope?
Mhm.
They are united in all of this. So the Pope is not just rhetorically criticizing the Trump administration, he's really mobilizing the church as a whole.
Yeah.
All the bishops and archbishops and cardinals sitting down giving interviews for 60 minutes. We're not dealing with some, weak-kneed law firm or Republican congressman here. We're dealing with a rather formidable foe.
It's funny because you think about, like, how Donald Trump in Iran has gotten the Iranian people completely. This was, a group of people who were ready to part ways with the mullahs just a few months ago,
Yeah.
now completely committed to their way of life because they're under attack from the Americans. Even, like, dissidents are saying, "Well, we don't like this bombing thing," right? And then
Yeah.
we have a similar scenario with the Catholic Church, which has had a tough couple decades. And now all of a sudden they're galvanizing around this you can't go after the Pope.
Well, that's right, and also, I mean, this is an unusual pope. I mean, look, he's an American, which,
Right.
is obviously significant. I've been arguing that this was an undercovered story for a while, the American pope versus the American president, but here's somebody who understands American culture and understands American politics and speaks in the kind of clear language that I'm not used to hearing from popes, and
Yeah.
also he's going right at the heart of this Christianist, you know performative Christianism that you see from the Trump administration and saying, you know what, that's not Christian. That's not Christianity. JD Vance, you're wrong about Catholic theology. And that really goes at one of Donald Trump's strengths, which is that among the value voters. And so this is a fight that apparently he wants it. He thinks it's a distraction. It strikes me as just another one of these self-inflicted wounds that has, essentially, as Axios reported the other day, eroded that coalition. Like it's like he's going down the box. How can I alienate Latino voters? How can I alienate young voters? How can I alienate working class white voters? Oh wait, we haven't gone after Catholics, and I'm going to insult the evangelical Christians on the right by comparing myself to Jesus Christ. I mean, it's really remarkable.
I want to pivot now to the JD Vance humiliation tour. Orban, he makes Orban lose. Right. Orban, they call up Trump during the rally, doesn't work.
Yeah.
Then he goes to Iran, does not secure peace. Then he goes to Turning Point, he gives a talk, and 9 people are there.
Yeah, what happened there? No, I saw your tweet about the humiliation tour. I mean, he's this guy's on a losing streak. And there's a headline in the Financial Times, the incredible shrinking JD Vance. And he does look diminished. And that TPUSA thing was awfully interesting because the crowd shots were embarrassing. I mean, Erica Kirk didn't even show up at the event. She decided she had something more important to do. And there's JD Vance basically sitting alone on stage lecturing the Pope. So, yeah, this has not been a good week for JD Vance.
But here's the good news, and this is another Axios scoop. Axios,
Mm,
whatever's happening with Axios, JD Vance is going to go to Iowa in advance of the midterms. Iowa, a very interesting state for Democrats right now.
yes. That's an interesting choice because that should be off the radar, right? Because Republicans have been winning there. If you're going into Iowa, it's an acknowledgement that there are red states that are now in play. And that seems to be that seems to be the pattern here. I mean, this has been an incredible week. The Cook report moving, one Senate race after another toward the Democrats. The fact that the governorship in Iowa may be in play, and everything that Donald Trump is doing is seems to be making the situation worse. Bear with me here. You know, there's a thing about people who reach a certain age, you get locked in a certain decade, and we've talked about this before. Donald Trump is blocked in the late 1980s, fighting fights that used to be, big back then. But you listen to him, and he is stuck on his playbook. He thinks that he can win on taxes, crime, immigration, and men playing in women's sports, because that was the playbook that worked for him before. And yet 2026, they feel like, no, people, we've kind of moved on. And so there's a certain staleness to Trump's agenda. But that's what people do. People who are successful, right, will play the hit. They'll play the same hits over and over again. You know.
I also think his obsession with oil
Mhm.
is just, oil, Time magazine, certain things that were big in the 80s.
Yeah. Yes. Late night
Yeah.
comedians, you
Right.
know,
Late night
all, all,
comedians.
all of those things. And so, and his obsession with tariffs goes back. So it's like they're stuck. They are not reactive to the moment. And by reactive, I mean they're just not sensitive. There's a
Mm.
tone deafness to this that's extraordinary. I mean, if you're sitting around earlier this year, I'm guessing that rational political advisors would tell the president, okay, one of your vulnerabilities is affordability. You got elected on affordability. You said day one inflation would end. Let's figure out a way to turn that around because you don't want to be underwater on the economy. And Trump says, hold my beer. I'm going to launch a completely unnecessary war in Iran, which will disrupt the world economy and cause gas prices to soar and make it impossible for farmers to get fertilizer. Okay, so what is the rational connection between here's your problem, what you ought to be doing, versus what you are actually doing right now? And
Mm.
oh, by the way, I'm going to post more me as Jesus memes and pick a fight with the Pope.
I understand that, like, part of Donald Trump's appeal 10 years ago was that he was a poster, was that he was like, you saw the real Donald Trump, whatever. Like, you didn't have staffers doing his internet, it was him. And you couldn't control him. And there was some feeling that, like, you had real access to him. But at this point, nothing good has come from that social
It's
media
scary.
feed in at least a year. Like, when do they wrestle the phone out of his hands?
Oh, never. I mean, never. That's not going to happen, and that's part of the problem, isn't it? So I do get the sense that whatever the poll numbers are saying about MAGA voters, I think right now they're in a permanent, they make an expression like that, cringing. They're kind of
Yeah.
cringing, rolling their eyes, thinking, oh man, when is he going to stop? The number of people that you're starting to see saying, like, I used to like the guy, but now he just seems so, arrogant and erratic. Like, wait, you guys weren't paying attention. We
Last
were warned,
decade.
but
Sorry.
well, and you know what? I don't know what you think about this, because I did an interview with a German reporter earlier today, and he was saying, why is Trump doing some of this? And you have to go back to 2016. Remember when Trump said, I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot
Mhm.
somebody and not lose a vote? I think that he increasingly believes that, but part of him goes, "This is amazing what I can get away with." It almost feels as if he's testing the limits. How far can I push these rubes? How far can I go? What can I get them to believe or accept? And every single day, it's like poke, poke, poke. And the fact that, the Jesus meme blew up so badly that he had to,
Mhm.
uncharacteristically back off and delete it. And then what does he do 2 days later? He posts another one. It's like he's daring his supporters, be offended by what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna treat you guys like the idiots I think you are, and then I'm kinda hoping you don't realize that I'm treating you like an idiot.
Yeah, I think that pushing on it's funny because I think about the Wall Street Journal had a really good piece yesterday
Mhm.
about like this way in which Donald Trump over the last year has had to delete things, which he never used to do. And like it reminds me of QAnon, right? In the early in the first term, like Trump would do something that related to QAnon or retweet something, and people would get hysterical, and he would say like, "I'm just trolling the libs." But
Yeah.
this is a little different.
It is different, and it's sort of an indication though that he's out of control, and not focused on things that people is thinking about. If you're actually concerned about how do I pay for my gas, how am I going to put food on the table? I really am concerned about the fact that we are going to war, and then you see the president who is it looks like he's out of touch and frivolous,
Yeah.
and that's just not a good look.
I think that's right, and also, I wanna talk about the DoorDash granny for a minute. So,
Okay,
earlier this week, this grandmother who delivers food to pay for her husband's cancer treatment came and they organized, like, Trump loves, like,
right,
these kind of made for TV moments, so she
right,
comes, orders food, it's to promote no tax on tips. So,
right,
now, there are a couple of things about this. One is that she may have some connection to the Republican Party. Okay. That I actually don't care about
yeah,
because even if she was like a whatever, I don't think that is the top line here. I
yeah.
actually think the top line is like I don't know if you saw the picture, but it's like almost 80-year-old billionaire, richest cabinet in American history giving a tip to a woman in her 70s who
Yeah,
has been forced to take another job because of her husband's cancer. And now the tips, which are not that much money, are not going to be taxed.
yeah, scraps for the little people.
I mean, discuss.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit cringy, but it's a thing about, and I'm sure you've had more experience at this than I have. Rich people can be tone deaf.
Yeah.
Hanging around with like really, really rich people, they just have no sort of clue about how they look or behave or the scale of values. And so Donald Trump, they're like, here's my $100 bill that I'm going to give to you, which I'm sure will pay off all of those cancer treatment bills.
Yeah.
And by the way, that was where I thought that he seemed a little bit tone deaf because he went through the mantra that I just gave you. You know, this was about taxes, and then he talks about crime and how terrible the Democrats are and
Right.
open borders and
Yeah.
women playing in sports. And he asked this
Yes.
woman about it. Remember, she says, "I don't have an opinion on this. I'm just here to talk about taxes on tips." So I mean, it
Yeah.
was not it was not a master class in all of that. But I think this is part of the problem the administration has. If you're in a room with billionaires, guess what? They're not going to be hypersensitive to the problems of the working middle class. And at some point, the guy that ran for president is like, "I am for you, they are for them." People are going to go, "Well, no, you're hanging out with your cronies and stuff, and yet you'll take some scraps off the table and you'll throw it my way, but we're not that stupid." And Trump
And
was just thinking, "You should be grateful for me, you working class people."
think that's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Charlie Sykes, thank you so much for making the time for me today.
Thank you. Anytime.